I know a former CIA officer who's been hacked 4 times, so consider the irony of that. The first time was that massive Office of Personal Management breach about a decade ago. And if you remember, the US government got taken over by Chinese hackers, and 21.5 million security clearances were compromised. So this was an absolutely unprecedented data breach. A friend of his, also former CIA, he got a letter saying that his top secret information, his legal name, social information, everything was stolen. And just a few days later, the other guy got the same letter. So apparently that data was sold to everyone. The Russians, I mean, not every person, but the major countries, Russians, North Korea, and you name it. And so that was just the first major incident. The second time he got hacked was actually because of surgery. So about 6 months after one of his surgeries, he got a letter explaining that the medical company handling his anesthesia had been breached. So he seriously just got hacked just because he had to give out his medical information to a surgery clinic. What about the third time? Third time was one of the big credit bureaus, and he's pretty sure that it was Experian. Well, you probably remember that immense hack where millions of people's credit information was exposed. Well, since we have all of our reports in TransUnion and Equifax and Experian, our data is just sitting there. And so when those companies get breached, we are the ones who pay the price, even though we didn't do anything wrong to expose our data. Now, the fourth way, and this was the most recent, health insurance. So this guy's health insurance, as I mentioned before, some third-party vendor that you do business with, when they get hacked, and in this case, this is what happened. Again, a bunch of his information was exposed. So now all of these exposures are all very detrimental revealings of personal information. The Russians, the Chinese, the North Koreans, the Cubans, everybody has it. So there are plenty of countries that he can't travel to anymore because they have his aliases and his legal names and almost all the important details. And doesn't like to travel when people know that. He's very secure, right? He knows how information flows, what to protect. So he doesn't feel safe traveling to these places anymore because he can't do it anonymously. But nowadays, because he's been hacked, he implements all the protective measures. He's more strict about that. So what does he do? The number one major thing he does is he freezes his credit. So he absolutely puts a credit freeze, a permanent one, or he just leaves it on for a very long time. So he's had his credit frozen for over 20 years now. And, you do have to reach out to Experian or TransUnion, Equifax, the same people who got hacked, and place the credit freeze. But once you do, you have to go buy a house or buy a car. I mean, if you go to get a house or get a car, you can go online and just call them. You can lift the freeze for 24 hours or whatever you need, and then it goes right back on, gets activated by itself. But the good thing is that when you have this freeze, nobody can go and open a bank account in your name. Nobody can take out credit and buy a house in your name or a car. So absolutely, one of the main things I strongly recommend you do is get a credit freeze. Now, the second thing you do to protect yourself is eliminate as much personal information as you can. There are thousands of data broker websites out there, perhaps millions of them, constantly trying to sell your information. So there's no way you would want to do this yourself. That's why I use a service called Delete Me to take care of this. Lastly, the third measure is using a private VPN. You should always use a virtual private network when you're surfing the internet, and especially when you're out using public Wi-Fi networks, because those aren't secure. It's easier for hackers to get through to you when you're on a public network. So the fact is, we live in a world where hackers are constantly trying to get at us, so we need to take these measures to protect ourselves now, and we have to take more of them. Even though this guy's been hacked all of those times, he's never actually had his identity stolen or experienced any major fraud or dealt with any major problems, because he takes these steps to remove everything.